Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome back. We're here live at the Nemesis Lab Indy 500 at the Racing for Children's IndyCar Series. Fun, competitive racing for charity, supporting the Racing for Children's Foundation. The Racing for Children's IndyCar Series, not just an iRacing league, also here to help raise awareness and funding to cure childhood cancer and blood disorders. As always, my name is James Eastbury, the Action 1080p 60 frames a second. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, it looks like our drivers are making their way out onto the track, getting ready to start a very prestigious event here as we get ready to run through the current grids. It's Nico Kopkar starting on pole, Casey Carrington starting second, Paul Gibson starting third, Colin Weatherholt will be starting fourth, Matt Brewer starting fifth, Jason Miller starts sixth, Marshall Newton starting seventh, Tyler Dugan starting eighth, Kyle Leap starts ninth, Nick Terrell starting 10th. William Brennan starts 11th. Brian Ziegler starting 12th. Cycling it back to John Kasai, the propane man. He'll be running 13th. Peter Rettinger starts 14th. Garrett Ziegler starting 15th. Norman King starts 16th. And Gareth McAllister will round out the 17-car grid for this Indy 500. Let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a different monitor. If not, they just about always go back and watch it over again. And tonight we're here for a great cause, supporting charity. And we will have some representatives from the Racing for Children's Foundation tuning in here later tonight, supporting and even hopping up in the booth for a little bit. As we get ready to roll them out behind our iRacing safety car. And to start the broadcast off right, Team Goon Squad is going to go ahead and pony up $20 towards the foundation. But we wanted to be the first donation from this Indy 500. Link currently pinned on the YouTube side of things. If you want to make a contribution supporting a great cause, a great charity. You got Kiki28, she's cheering on, he or she, excuse me, I can't really tell, cheering on Adam King. With Mustard Seed Racing, that's going to be the number 28 machine starting towards the back. And if you want to leave a donation and have it shouted out on the broadcast, go ahead and follow that link And then what we'll do is we'll provide a Discord link as well for the Racing for Children's IndyCar series, so you can post a screen cap of your donation. We'll read it live on the broadcast. And make sure you get your just accolades. Waiting for that iRacing safety car to come down pit road. And here we go, the Nemesis Lab Indy 500 is away. Cop car with a massive launch. And we will get things started. Now a very long race, 200 laps. Drivers have to take it easy as Cop car wants to get out front as quickly as he can. That clean air extremely crucial in these cars. Once you're tucked in behind traffic, it's very difficult to make any moves. The car wants to push up towards the outside wall. Drivers needing to face tonight like it is an endurance race, 200 laps, a long time. Drivers only have one fast repair, one get out of jail free card before they have to fix these machines the old fashioned way. As up front, looks like Carrington closing the gap to Cop car. That number 4 machine will get credit for the first lead lap. Now it looks like Marshall Newton has problems. He's in the outside wall. Tyler Dugan also went off track. Let's see where Dugan is. Dugan looked like he kind of backed out of it. Marshall gonna try and limp it around. We do not have our current race control due to technical errors. So hopefully those drivers can keep it out of the racing line for if and when the race leaders come by. Carrington's going to tuck in behind Cop car here. It'll be interesting to see if we see a move for the lead early on, or if Carrington's just going to sit back and watch. What do you get confirmation? That's Paula joining us on the YouTube side of things. Adam's mom representing Clanton, Alabama. Joining us for the live broadcast here today. Tyler Dugan, Marshall Newton, both in pit road. Now, I would imagine they're not going to use their fast repair early on here, opting to fix the car the old-fashioned way. It is a very long night. Drivers not wanting to use that get-out-of-jail-free card too early on. Looks like Newton may have used the fast repair in and out of his pit stall in 3.9 seconds. Dugan opts to stay in for a little while longer. As things are getting heated, and it's going to be a big one. I think that was Jared Ziegler we saw absolutely exploding there in the 57. Several other drivers going to be involved in that one as well. That's, I believe, Gareth McAllister is going to be driving wounded. Yes. Peter Rettinger heavily involved. William Brennan with heavy damage. Looks like Brian Ziegler may have gotten through relatively unscathed, but let's see what happened to the young Ziegler, Jared Ziegler in the 57. Oh, let's back that up. There's something going on before Ziegler came into the party here. Let's watch William Brennan, the 47 machine. Pushes wide, drills the outside wall. Rettinger followed suit. Ziegler looking for an opening through. Spins it around, and the field just gets wadded up rather quickly. Gareth McAllister had a spectacular front row seat on that one. Let's see if we can watch it from McAllister's point of view. This is where things are going to get mighty violent really quickly. There's Ziegler ahead, careening across track. McAllister nowhere to go, just absolutely plows into Ziegler's 57 machine. Unfortunately, just falling apart here. That will be our first caution of the night. Looks like Brennan, Rettinger, Newton, Dugan, Ziegler, and McAllister coming down pit road. McAllister and Ziegler having to take a tow. So they will absolutely be forced to use that fast repair early on. Ryan Ziegler has come down pit road. Rettinger rolling out. Newton Dugan also down pit road. And that's what you're talking about. The dirty air gets very turbulent off the wings of these Indy cars. And it can be very, very easy to cause a massive pileup if one driver gets tight. That's exactly what we saw. I believe it was William initially tagged that outside wall. The car wants to push, plow, and swing right when trying to tuck it in on these 90-degree turns. Jared Ziegler, Gareth McAllister still in pit road after having to take the tow. Most other drivers were able to limp it back to pit road on their own power. That's going to make it 13 drivers in the lead lap. Looks like McAllister rolling out. Ziegler may have put it. No, Ziegler's going to get back out on track as well on the 57 machine. So we're still going to have all 17 drivers out on the surface. That's going to put Cop Car, Carrington, Gibson, Weatherholt, and Brewer, your top 5 for our first restart of the afternoon. And don't forget, around noon today, we're going to have a representative of the Racing for Children's Foundation join us here on the broadcast. As we get the field line back up, single file behind that iRacing safety car. And again, if you're just tuning in, if you want your donation, giving a shout out here on stream, we've got the pinned link as well in the chat, a link to the Racing for Children's IndyCar Series Discord. Leave a donation, take a screen cap, post in the Discord, and we will give you a shout out during tonight's show. And here we go, green flag racing once more. Cop Car is going to be out front. Carrington and Gibson linked up right behind. Looks like Weatherholt right there as well. And Matt Brewer is going to join the fray in the number 2 machine. Brewer taking a peek at the inside line of Weatherholt. But Weatherholt using that draft off of Gibson, and look up front, Carrington making a move for the inside to try and take over here. He wants the clean air on the front of that 03 machine. So 2 different drivers making some moves. Carrington takes over the number 1 spot. Brewer takes over the 4th place position. And it's about to get real heated. Here comes Paul Gibson blasting up towards the front. Everybody wants that clean air, just so much easier to drive when you're out front, not having to worry about the wake or the draft off the driver in front of you. Carrington's going to fire back. We're going to go 2 wide, 2 deep. It's Carrington Gibson battling for the lead. Brewer, Cop Car, battling for 3rd. Carrington able to hold on to 1st. Matt Brewer has moved up to 3rd. Edging out Cop Car, our pole setter here today. only 9 laps in, and we're making some moves as we go 3 wide across the start-finish line. Brewer out on the inside, Gibson in the middle, Carrington was up high. Oh, we're going to have an exciting 200 laps if this is any preview. 10 laps in, already 3 wide for the race lead. Carrington's falling back to third. Matt Brewer taking over the top spot. Gibson settling in for second in the number 31. As here comes Cop Car wanting to fire back against Carrington. Looking at the inside line, not finding an opening. Now I do have to wonder, are drivers going to maybe calm themselves down a little bit? Or are they going to keep this momentum up as Cop Car looks to the inside of Carrington once more? But don't forget about Colin Weatherholt's number 12 machine rejoining the pack here. So as it stands, it's Brewer, Gibson, Carrington, Cop Car, Weatherholt, your current top 5. They've got about 3/10 over 6th place, Jason Miller. Our charger right now, Norman King, the number 28 machine. He has moved up to 10th early on, but we've got problems at the back as Gareth McAllister shows off track. Trying to keep it off the racing surfaces. He tricycles around. I think he's going to take a tow here, so McAllister may be done and out. Yes, McAllister is out. Let's take a look, back that camera angle up, and see what happened to McAllister. I think that's an example of the car just tightening up. Oh, no, it was some explodey bits coming off the car. Yeah, McAllister just drilling the outside wall. That's enough to send him back into an early retirement here. But unfortunately, the young Australian Gareth McAllister may be going to bed at a reasonable hour after all. As Brewer still holds on to the race lead, he's built up a 4/10 advantage over Paul Gibson, Carrington third, Cop Car, and Weatherholt rounding out the top 5. There's going to be 13 drivers on the lead lap. Now, I'm going to be interesting as well. 200 laps. Who may be the dark horse that's sitting around, not interesting, battling for the top 5 or for even the top 10 at this point, and just waiting for some perfectly good race cars to get retired early on? Because, again, we've had several drivers have to use those fast repairs very prematurely here. And in case of McAllister with that second incident, he is most likely done and out, will not be rejoining the surface here. So it may not necessarily be the fastest driver to bring it home here at the Nemesis Labs 500. It could be somebody just taking it easy, working on fuel management, and seeing what's going to happen. Cop Car trying to close the gap back to Carrington as they dive into one. The field seems like they're taking it a little bit easier at this point. As Brewer clicking off laps in that number 2 machine again tonight. Double point, or this afternoon I should more aptly say, double points for the drivers. So that's going to really encourage some guys to come out here, do well, and just lock up. You might be able to make some big, big grounds as far as points goes, depending on how you do here at the Indy 500. Carrington tucked in right behind Gibson's 31 machine. That's going to be the battle for second. Paul Gibson currently second out on track, is our points leader coming into this evening. He's had 3 poles so far to his name and has been able to pick up 2 wins. Right now it's Gibson, Weatherholt, Fitzsimmons. All have 2 wins each. Fitzsimmons not on track here tonight, so if Gibson or Weatherholt can win such a prestigious event, not only will they get double points, but they will also be the most winningest driver of the season up to date. Gibson just clicking off laps in that 31 machine. He's about a half second back from Matt Brewer. Marshall Newton has come back down pit road in the 76 machine. This will be his third stop. And unfortunately, it appears that Marshall Newton has retired from this event. Very much a race of attrition here at Indy. And I did find out before tonight's broadcast as well, this, as far as I can tell, will be the last ran Indy 500 on the old surface here on iRacing, with a new update coming out early next week, a repave here at Indy. So a doubly prestigious event for a multitude of reasons, supporting charity, a great cause, raising money for the Racing for Children's Foundation, as well as a bit of a bragging right. The last run, as far as we can tell, Indy 500 at this surface. Carrington looking for a move on Gibson, maybe even just looking for a little bit clean air, as Gibson and Carrington have closed the gap to Brewer, your race leader. But so tough to make any moves. The lap time's falling off ever so slightly. Always tough to tell what the times are going to be. The draft, such an important role. And we've got more battling going on further back. Nick Terrell has made a move on Kyle Leap right behind them. Norman King, John Kasai, side by side. King moving up to the 9th place position. He's up 7 spots so far. I think King could be a dark horse here. Keep an eye out on him. He's just going to be clicking off laps, trying to keep that car safe over the duration of this main event. As right behind King, Kasai and Rettinger linking up. Ooh, Rettinger almost tagging that wall. He's been involved in one incident so far around that lap 4 caution, so I think he's going to play it a little bit safer here and not press the issue too much. As we go on board with Peter Rettinger, the Austrian, the number 44 machine, he's sitting 11th, about a quarter of a second back from Texas native John Kasai, the propane man. Propane Depot coming on board as one of the sponsors this season, supporting the Racing for Children's IndyCar Series. They're out of San Antonio, Texas, coming on board, helping the league, supporting the broadcast. We've also got Nemesis Labs, Simulation and Gaming Solutions coming on. That's why it's named the Nemesis Lab 500. Great group of guys out of Alabama supporting, as well as martial arts, helping us out with all the graphics and overlays this season. Good to have so many excellent companies on board with the right mind. The field's starting to bunch up just a little bit here. So 13 drivers on the lead lap, 15 still rolling around. And it looks like we're going to be joined by Marshall Newton in the 76 machine. Marshall coming out of the infield care center. Not quite sure why we saw you come down pit road on lap 15. What happened to you in that 76 machine?
Just got tied and hit the wall. Followed my teammate into the wall on like lap 3 and burned my fast repair. Then I was just trying to bide my time and hit the wall again. And yeah, I'm not going to sit here running 7 laps down. So yeah, I'm just going to call it quits, I think.
Now, Marshall, how much of an attrition race do you think this is going to be versus a raw speed and talent race? We saw so many drivers around that lap 2 to 5 mark have to use those all-important fast repairs, and now they don't have that get-out-jail-free card. So do you think that's going to kind of maybe force the drivers to play a little bit more safely here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if I'm Jared right now, I'm pretty scared because, he's pretty fast and, he just can't be as aggressive as, he would truly want to be, I bet. So, I don't know, he's probably going to have to bide his time for, till like lap 180.
Well, Marshall, well said, and you're coming on board as a title sponsor this season with Martial Arts. What made you want to hop on board and support such a great cause for this season?
Well, I mean, Norman and Jared, they're both trying to build this league up, and they're doing it for a great cause, racing for children's. And I just wanted to, help make it look more professional with my graphics and just try to be a good friend.
Well, I would dare say you are, Marshall. It's been always a pleasure talking to you. We've had the opportunity to chat a whole lot over the last year and a half. So, unfortunate to see the 76 machine retired tonight, but always a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. You do a great job at the broadcast.
Thank you. That was Marshall Newton. Join us in the 76 machine. Unfortunately, sent back to the virtual hauler early on, done and out for the evening. As we continue clicking off laps, it's still Brewer, Gibson, Carrington, your top 3. Top car and Weatherholt rounding out the top 5. Going to be interesting to see what the fuel window is looking like for these drivers. As right now, Matt Brewer out front, going to be burning up a little bit more fuel, no draft support, but he does have clean air in front of him. That can be very, very important. Brewer pulling about a 4/10 advantage. Now, interesting to see Cop Car tucked in right behind Carrington. Both drivers running 3rd and 4th. And throughout this run as well, drivers will be adjusting the weight jacker on these machines to help tighten or loosen the car as they see fit. As it's still a bit of a seesaw back and forth, drivers will pull up right behind their counterparts ahead of them, and then slowly drift back and then kind of wave back the other direction. So it's going to be interesting to see. This is about the top 6, all in a tidy pack. There's Jason Miller, the number 9 machine. Haven't talked about him much so far. Qualified 6, still running 6. He's about a half second to about 6/10 off the back of Paul Weatherholt, who rounds out that top 5 pack. I almost wonder, is Miller one of those drivers just kind of taking it easy and clicking off laps? You can also see Nick Terrell about 1.1 seconds behind him. But Miller may know, or maybe thinking at least, things could get a little bit rowdy up front. Now let's just sit back, watch the show, and see what's going to happen as Brewer continues the dominant charge in the number 2 machine. He's still up 4 positions, holding on to that very important lead. Now I'm looking here, I don't know if I do see Brewer. He's had 1 start so far this season. That was last week at Indy Road. He finished 9th. So I'm not sure if he can interject himself in the points championship, but if he can somehow win it here tonight, that's going to be a good head start, securing a whole lot of points. A little bit further back, looks like John Kasai has made a pass on Norman King. Peter Renger looking for a way through as well. William Brennan trying to come down pit road, but Tyler Dugan showing involved in an incident, taking a tow back to pit road. So Dugan had big problems. Let's see, it looks like it's going to be going into turn 1. Does he just plow the track right? Oh no, gets very loose and absolutely pulverizes the inside wall before taking a tow back to pit road. So that'll be another driver sent back to the hauler very early on. Cycling it back to the battle for ninth, Peter Rettinger trying to get around Norman King's 28 machine. And up front, we've got a pan up front. Casey Carrington has made a move for the lead on lap 32, taking it over from Paul Gibson. So still things getting swapped around here at Indy. Nothing's decided yet, as it is about a 5-car breakaway. Carrington, Gibson, Kopcar, Weatherholt, and Miller stretching their legs as 4 drivers have joined the short list of those who will not be able to finish tonight. William Brennan, Tyler Dugan, Marshall Newton, Gareth McAllister, all back into the virtual hauler. And very interested still, Jason Miller just kind of hanging out behind these top 4, watching. He's about 3/4 of a second back, hovering around the 7/10 mark. Not quite wanting to get too close ahead there. I think it's all about the vortex of danger, not wanting to risk too much and put himself in a dangerous position. Panning back to Norman King. He's trying to close the gap to John Kasai. This will be maybe shaping up into a 3-car battle for 8th. King about 3/10 off the back of Kasai. He's also got Render 3/4 of a second behind him. And Paul Gibson, Colin Weatherholt are going to come down pit road 35 laps in. Kyle Leet, Nick Terrell also going to join them. Carrington, Kopcar, Miller stays out. Here comes Kasai and King down pit road. Rettinger's going to move all the way up to 4th as the rest of the field on pit road. Brian Ziegler will round out the top 5, staying out as long as he possibly can. So we've got our first green flag stops of the night, 35 laps in. I think that's going to put our pit window around lap 30 to 32 laps, if I'm doing my calculations correct up here in the booth. Carrington, Kopcar, Miller all coming down pit road. Rettinger will follow suit, I believe. Well, no, Brian Ziegler gonna stay out in the number 5 machine one more lap. Now it's interesting, Carrington looks like he almost got tagged by Kopcar coming down pit road. The closing is vastly different between those two. So Brian Ziegler maybe trying something a little bit different on fuel strategy here. Brian Ziegler will signal he's coming down pit road. I believe that's going to put Carrington as your race leader, but not if Matt Brewer has something to say about it. As Brewer takes back over what will be the race lead, as they get ready to pass Brian Ziegler on pit road. That'll put Paul Gibson in 3rd. I don't think much is going to be changing inside the top 5. As there it updates, it's going to be Brewer, Carrington, Gibson, Weatherholt, Kopcar, your top 5. Something must have happened to Kopcar on pit road, tried something different. Losing a fair amount of time to Colin Weatherholt, and Jason Miller's also falling back by about 1.3 seconds. And Miller may have company here. It looks like Nick Terrell in the 81 machine. He's up 3 spots, running 7th, starting to close the gap, but back up front. Carrington showing he wants this race once more as they cross the line. He's going to throw it in deep into turn 1, taking the air away from Matt Brewer's number 2 machine. Riley Brewer's gonna fire back. A little bit further back, looks like Gibson has Weatherholt linked in right behind him. Now maybe these people are gonna work together to try and close the 1.1 second gap that they have. As now every time Carrington and Brewer are going back and forth like that, that's going to allow the third and fourth place drivers an opportunity to close. As Jason Miller back in ninth just clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 40.72. And look at that, Weatherholt's taking over the spot from Paul Gibson's 31. He's going to work his way up to third. As again we go side by side for the lead. Carrington and Brewer going at it. Weatherholt and Gibson need to work together as the top two have actually extended the gap now to 1.2 seconds ahead. I almost wonder, are they doing a little bit of leapfrog here? Pull themselves away from Weatherholt and Gibson. Brewer takes over the lead once more. And Weatherholt has closed the gap now to about 9-10, so finding a little bit of time on the top two. Carrington back up front, the bright yellow 03 machine. Brewer fire back once more. And look at the breakaway Colin Weatherholt has on Paul Gibson. Brewer gonna look at the inside line. I think Weatherholt putting his head down here in number 12 machine. He wants up into this party. Trying as hard as he can to close the gap. It's about, now it's got about 8/10 back from Carrington in second. But these guys keep going side by side. Keep track of all the lead changes we've had so far this evening. Jason Miller having problems with the number 9 machine. He takes the toe back. He's going to be done and out. What happened to Miller? Look, tagging the outside wall, unable to get away from it here. Unfortunately, Miller looks like he'll be done and out for the evening now. We did get a report as well. Gareth McAllister leaving a bit of a donation for charity tonight after having to get sent back to the hauler. So the young Aussie helping out every way he can, raising money for a fantastic cause. As the top pack starting to bunch up a little bit, Colin Weatherholt closing the gap to 3/10 behind Carrington. Carrington right off the wing of Matt Brewer. Let's see what's going to happen here. It's very quickly shaping up into a three-car battle inside the top. It's Carrington, Brewer, Weatherholt, separated by less than a half second. In the background, you can see Cop Car and Paul Gibson running 4th and 5th. Carrington back out front, taking over the race lead. Weatherholt seemed content just to watch this party unfold ahead of him. Now, Brewer was one of the first drivers down pit road on lap 30. Carrington came on lap 35. Weatherholt came in on lap 34. Down to the side, Peter Renger having their own battle for 9th. Kasai falling back to 10th as Renger moves up to 9th. 11 drivers on the lead lap. Looks like we have 12 still out there rocking and rolling. Here's into the 57, who may have been one of the odds-on favorites to win it here this evening. Will be the driver still driving that's a lap down, but anything's possible here, especially with the top three so tightly bunched up. As Cop Car and Gibson trying to close the gap as well. These top five are running very, very tight together early on. I would not be surprised to see everybody link back up by the time it's all said and finished. Behind him. Going at it. Carrington taking up once more from Brewer. Weatherholt Cop Cars trying to watch it along behind, not wanting to interject themselves too much into the fray. Cameron Bidwell joined us, cheering on to all the PG-13 drivers. Marshall Newton also cheering on Norman King, number 28. He is our current hard charger out on track in the 28 machine, up 8 spots from where he qualified. And the fact that he's still in it at this point is very, very encouraging. With so many drivers have put it back in the hauler early on. And Carrington and Brewer still going at it here. As Colin Weatherholt has rapidly closed the gap as well. Brewer and Carrington have swapped back at least a dozen times at this point. I think they're about to do it again as Brewer tucked in right behind Carrington. Oh, looks like Carrington's going to hold on to it into turn one. It looks like Brewer backs out of it slightly there. Brewer going to get a little bit momentum built up. Does he take a peek into one? No, it seems like Brewer's happy following Carrington here. So interesting, Brewer maybe trying something different on fuel strategy. Wanting to tuck in behind the 03 machine. Now we're expecting the next fuel cycles to start around lap 60 As Brian Ziegler has an off-track excursion, looks like he's going to pull over here and take a tow. Something bad has happened to the number 5 machine. Oh, and another case. Back that up. It almost looks like he has problems before that. Oh, that is for certain. Gets loose there. Drills the inside wall extremely hard. Green's back out on track, tags the outside wall, and then very quickly and very wisely hops out of the racing line off the surface. And unfortunately, Brian Ziegler joining the list of drivers who have taken a tow back to pit road as Carrington and Brewer continue side by side up front. There's Colin Weatherholt and Nickel Kopkar joining the party as well. Paul Gibson in 5th. He's about a second back from this spray. Very impressed with the car control out of these drivers. They're making a whole lot of mid-race adjustments partway through that one. As Brewer takes over the race lead once more. Carrington, Weatherholt, Kopkar, Gibson. Your current top 5. Pit window's going to open up the next 4 to 5 laps. Brian Ziegler returning back to the racing service after taking a fast repair. Uh-oh, we've got problems for Norman King. Oh, almost up into the track. Back up, Norman. And yes, the caution comes out. Question is, does King have any heavy damage on there? Take a look at that instant replay, just gets loose. How did King keep it off the wall there? That will be our second caution of the night. I believe most of the field's going to come down pit road here. Norman King has Antonio Bianchi, the open wheel pro, serving as crew chief here tonight. Let's see, again, the field window is going to open up around that lap 60 mark, and now we're going to bunch the field back up together. And everybody coming down pit road together. Let's see if Jared Ziegler stays out. Yes, he will, to try and get a lap back here. Ziegler not out of it yet. I don't believe that there are lucky dogs or waiver rounds here at the Indy 500. I'll get confirmation of that here shortly. Now, it doesn't look like Norman King sustained any damage in that incident. At worst case, he would have flat spotted the tires, but did not see any hard damage on the 28 machine. Good to go to continue things here tonight. And Ziegler will get the wave around. He's going to rejoin the field on the lead lap. And he's going to try and quickly get up to pace here. I assume Ziegler will try and service that 57 machine. At least put a little bit of fuel in there so he can stay with the pack. Ziegler does not have a fast repair remaining. Jared Ziegler does not in the 57. But as we get everybody lined up, let's check in on Jared Ziegler. Was not able to come down pit road, so that wave around may be for naught here. I think he's going to be fairly short on fuel, I think. As up front, they get on the gas. Weatherholt, Brewer, Cop Car. Your top three, Gibson, and now Nick Terrell has joined the top five. AC Carrington has fallen back to 10th. He's in pit road for a long time, 18.5 seconds. Carrington must have had something wrong there. It sounded like Matt Brewer tagged the outside wall. And the number 2 machine, he's dropped off the pace rather quickly. As Cop Car and Gibson take over the top 3, Nick Terrell moves up to 4th. Brewer following all the way back to 6th. He must have something wrong with that machine. As yes, he comes down pit road. That's going to put Weatherholt as the race leader for the first time here this evening. The number 12 machine up 3 positions. And what's arguably most important is Weatherholt will hold on to the clean air, such a valuable spot to be in. As look at this pack going on, Norman King, Casey Carrington, Jared Ziegler. A 3-car battle for 8th. Carrington's on the inside line. King carries a little bit more speed on the outside. Back up to 8th. Jared Ziegler very patiently watching the show in front of him, knowing he does not have that fast repair left in his back pocket. And Carrington, after that rough pit stop, led a whole fistful of laps as King, looks like drags the outside wall. Carrington takes evasive maneuvers up the inside line. Jared Ziegler's going to work around his longtime friend and rival Norman King. King falls back to 10th, up 6 positions. And Carrington will continue the charge forward. He's going to try and close it on John Kasaya, a half second ahead of him. As after a botched pit cycle, Carrington is going to be driving like a man possessed to make something happen. Closing the gap to Kasai down to a 10. Closing fast, Carrington takes a peek to the inside line. Kasai goes a little bit high to help facilitate that pass as Carrington moves back into 7th. Let's check in on race leader Colin Weatherholt. Starting to get a little bit of company from Cop Car's number 4 machine. Cop Car poster pole setter qualified in top spot early tonight. Falling back as far as 5th or 6th, I believe, but wants to reclaim that race lead. Gap, Paul Gibson right in tow and third, the 31 machine. And in just a few short moments, we're going to have a representative for the Racing for Children's charity come up as we see a wing. Coming out of turn 4, I think that was Matt Brewer. Had another incident, and he's going to limp it down the pit road to number 2. He's looking rough to continue on. Norman King also coming down pit road. Now, curious to see how long Jared Ziegler can stretch it in the 57 machine. Charge forward with Weatherholt, Top Car, Gibson. 1, 2, 3. King has made it in and out of pit road. Rejoining the fray. Now everybody out on track in the top 8 all came in lap 57. Jared Ziegler in 9th. His last pit stop was on lap 36. It's going to be interesting to see how that one pans out for him, if he's going to be able to rejoin the fray. And joining me is Brindley with Racing for Children's. Join us up in the broadcast booth. Welcome, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure to be here. How's racing going today?
Fairly good. It's a long race, and the piece what a lot of racers maybe didn't quite understand is this is in its own form. Granted, it's an oval. This is endurance racing at its peak. So it's going to be interesting to see how the long-run strategies start to pan out, especially the fuel and stop strategies. But for the most part, rocking and rolling with about 20 different lead changes so far.
That's what I call real racing, man. Whoever would have known?
Yep, always a good time. Now, Brittany, tell me more about your charity, what you guys are doing, and how that incorporates to real-life racing as well as the virtual side of things.
Well, thank you. On real life and virtual, it all relates to raising money and awareness to fight the race against childhood cancer.
So, Brentley, how are we able to do that? I know we have the donation link pulled up, but we send that money. A lot of us kind kind of know what we're donating for. How does that go to help out those children, help out those families, and give them a chance that so many don't get?
Thank you. You know, Racing for Children was organized by a few car guys like me in Birmingham, Alabama. We've been going to Barber Motorsports Park to drive our hobby cars, Porsches, for many years. And George Barber challenged us to do something good with our hobby. So we contacted Children's of Alabama. We organized ourselves, and we started racing. That was 13 years ago. We used to be like the two men in a truck. You know, we had to rent a car to race. We were in a one-off race. We had to haul in the transporter, do all the work. It was a joke. But you know what? We hung in there, and today we have 3 Porsche GT3s running in the Porsche Carrera Cup of North America. They're actually at the real Indy track today and racing at the Porsche Together Fest. We have 2 rounds there this weekend. We also have an IndyCar running under the Juncos Hollinger team with our driver Callum Illett running a car with our livery on it. We've got a karting race team under USAC Karting, and even Honda of Alabama runs a Honda Odyssey with our livery. So we've got all these forms of racing going on. Our cars all have handprints, like you can see in our logo, of kids all over the car. But the entire reason for everything we do in racing is to raise money for Children's of Alabama. We have sponsors who completely fund our racing efforts. Medical Properties Trust of Alabama. 100% of every dollar we collect as a donation is passed along directly to the hospital, and it serves in assisting with funding for research and treatment of children at the hospital.
And Brentley, you talked about the Honda Odyssey. That's something I've read about as well, and I'm also going to ask you about how dominant those Porsches have been. But the Honda Odyssey, correct me if I'm wrong, it's something to do with hot laps for children or donators. Is that correct? That people can get out there in that Odyssey, do some laps at Barber or so on, and ride along. And a lot of people, I don't think, appreciate just how technical that track is until they're actually on it and just see what the racers see.
Yeah, that's the most technical track I've ever driven. So, you know, we all have high-performance driving weekends, track days, and the good guys on the Hart team, the Honda of Alabama racing team, they go out to DEs just like we do with the Porsche Club, BMW, and so forth, and run their Odyssey around the track. Some organizations will allow a ride-along, others don't. It seems to be more prohibited these days than it used to.
Yeah, I've run into that as well on the two-wheel side of things. You can occasionally do the rare two-up ride, but there's some lawyer somewhere that said no more fun for us, but very cool. And then tell me, again, Norm and I have talked in depth about it before, but I want to say those Porsches were very winning cars so far this season.
You know, and we've been running under the umbrella of Kelly Moss Road and Race, a phenomenal, quintessential Porsche race team in the United States. They've been at it for many years. When we met Jeff Stone with the organization back in about 2015, we shared with him our vision, and he caught on to it right away, fell in love with the program, and takes care of our cars. He helps us with driver selection and coaching, etc. The cars are very competitive. We've won either 1 or 2 championships. We finished second and third in a couple other seasons. This season we have all 3 cars, our top runners, finishing in top 10. Our number 1 driver, Kai Van Berlo, is in a tight race for the championship lead. I think we're only about 10 points ahead of the second place contender. That'll all be finished and determined either this weekend at Indy or probably at Road Atlanta during the Petit Le Mans race weekend at the end of September.
Well, I look forward to joining you guys since that's my home track. Barber only a couple hours away, so we'll try and get out there and support you on the real world side as well. Always a pleasure. Brentley, thank you so much for your time. And as a broadcaster, it's been a pleasure watching all these racers clicking off laps, raising money for a great cause that speaks true to form, crossing the bridge between adrenaline shenanigans and the paddock, as you know, is filled with some of the best people in the world. So an easy cause for everybody to get behind. And before we let you go, what do you want to tell the fans out there, the supporters that are helping to keep you guys going, and how can we help additionally?
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you to everyone, our sponsors, Medical Property Trust. We now have on board Sports Illustrated Resorts and others who just dig deep in their pockets. We appreciate every contribution. You know, every one of us and our families have been touched by cancer in some way or form. And we want to contribute to Alabama's Children's of Alabama to support all their efforts to help kids have a better life, to find a cure for this bad thing. All the money that you give to us goes to the hospital, like I mentioned before. Just go to racingforchildren.org, or you may already have a link set up for that, and just make those contributions. Any dollar you give is greatly appreciated.
Awesome. Brentley, thank you so much for your time, my friend. We'll let you get back to enjoying your Sunday, but a pleasure talking to you, and I'm almost positive we'll be talking more in the future.
I look forward to it. Thank you very much. Y'all stay safe on the track.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
That was Brentley King with Racing for Children's joining us here in the booth. Tell us more about what an awesome organization that we are out here supporting, and what a just all-around great guy. So a pleasure talking to him, and again, a pleasure to all the fans out here tonight. We do have that donation link pinned on the YouTube side of the broadcast, and if you join the Racing for Children's Discord, send me a screen cap or even email it to me, james@teamgoonsquad.com. We will make sure that you get that shout out in tonight's broadcast. As while we were talking, things still exciting up front. Weather Holton Cop Car separated by about a car length at most for the majority of this run. Still 9 drivers on the lead lap, rocking and rolling. As Weatherholt making it look easy. Now, unfortunately, Matt Brewer is going to be out of this event, unable to rejoin. As Weatherholt and Cop Car linked up nose to tail, Gibson, Terrell, Kyle Leap rounding out the top 5. Our charger at now is going to be Peter Renger, the number 44 machine. He's up 7 spots from where he qualified. Renger kind of been slightly in no man's land. He's about 8/10 back from Casey Carrington. 7/10 ahead of the propane man himself, John Kasai. Renger just keeps clicking them off, making them look easy. Lap times right now about 41 seconds, not too far off the pace. I'm trying to look here. Expecting the fuel window to open up for your top 8 drivers in about 5 to 6 laps if they stay true to form here. To fend off Renger. Renger closing the gap now to about 4:10, so he might be able to catch up to the big yellow 03 machine of Carrington. Carrington down 4 spots after that rough pit cycle. Redner doing a good job keeping his head down, trying to pick up every little bit of draft he possibly can. We got something going on with the internet connection. We'll try and get that corrected. That'd be terrible to lose connection in a charity broadcast. Definitely have something going on the broadcast side, a little bit of technical difficulties. It looks like it's starting to catch back up here as we check back in on Weatherholt, your race leader. Not having too many issues. It looks like we've got that big blink corrected. If we didn't have bad luck, we wouldn't have any luck at all as Weatherholt, Cop Car, Gibson, still your top 3, Terrell and Leap rounding out the top 5, but that gap's still fairly close amongst the field. Penny back to Kyle Leap, the number 20 machine, the pink and blue number 20. He's got Carrington a second back as he's closing the gap to Nick Terrell in the number 81. Kyle Leap up 20 spots so far. Excuse me, not 20 spots, 4 spots. And the number 20, it looks like Brian Ziegler's going to come back down pit road for his 4th stop of the evening. Kyle Leap currently 19th in points. He's had 2 starts so far this season. 1 at Barber, 1 at Texas, consistently a top 6, 7, 8th place finisher. That will give Norman King another position as he passes Brian Ziegler, who's on pit road. The top 6 all running about a half second between each other. Looks like that's Brian Ziegler returning back out on track. He's going to hold track left to allow Weatherholt, Cop Car, Gibson, and Terrell a chance to get by him nice and easy, not interfering with the lead pack. So well done, and a big thumbs up to Brian Ziegler and that number 5 machine. Everybody clicking off laps. Looks like Marshall Newton has returned back out on track in the 76 machine. He's gotten by William Brennan as well as Tyler Dugan, who are still on pit road. So Newton waited a very long time here to get back out on track, but is doing just that. Trying to maximize some points in an evening where every point will be multiplied. Double points here at the Indy 500. Nick Terrell still running 4th. He's got Kyle Leap closing the gap behind him, but we think the pit window is going to open up very, very soon. Everybody inside the top 8 all came in a lap 57 together. Now Marshall Newton, who came in around lap 16 and sat for an extremely long time, might be able to pick up positions on Matt Brewer and Jason Miller, who have also retired. But Colin Weatherholt, Casey Carrington, Peter Rettinger all coming down pit road in a nice tidy 3-car pack. Top car, Gibson, Terrell, Leap, and Kasai staying out after the lap 57 with service window. What's happening here? Kyle Leap runs up the inside line of Terrell. Terrell lets him by. Leap moves up in third, but we know Cop Car, Gibson, Leap, Terrell, Kasai must have to come down pit road relatively soon here. Everybody rocking and rolling as we've got a little bit less than 108 laps. John Kasai down pit road, your top 4 opt to stay out. As here we go, everybody except Cop Car coming down pit road. It's Gibson, Leap, Terrell. Cop Car's going to stretch it out one more lap here at least. Here comes Cop Car diving down pit road. Gibson rocking and rolling it after a lap 90 pit stop. Here comes Colin Weatherholt's number 12 machine. Weatherholt came in a lap 90. So looks like Gibson's going to hold on to the race here unless Weatherholt wants back up front and wants that clean air. And here comes Cop Car rejoin the race surface. How quickly can he get that number 4 machine up to pace? Cop Car with the overcut, lap 93. It looks like it's going to bode well for number 4 machine. He qualified in the top spot. And it's been a long time as we approach the halfway mark. He will have the race lead once more. Now we've seen Cop Car make some big lunges as well as Weatherholt. Will they do so again to take over the race lead? Norman King's 28 machine down pit road. Cop Car gonna make a lunge. He's tucked in right behind Gibson here. Weatherholt also being 3/10 separating your top 3 as they dive in. With how much aero wash they're getting, well done to the drivers, able to hold on to it, not making any mistakes. That's tough when they're hitting in excess of 230 miles an hour here at Indy. As it looks like Gibson extends the gap to about a half second. I think after all those three got bunched up so tightly, opting to play it a little bit safer at this moment. Now, drivers that aren't quite as stretched out as Kyle Leap, he's rapidly closing the gap to Peter Render's 44 machine. Now, interesting point of topic as well, Jared Ziegler, the 57, currently shows that our hard charger in fourth, but he is off cycle to the rest of the field. His last pit stop was on lap 71, so he's going to come in. Let's see if we can check that out. Ziegler's going to have to come in around lap 106, I believe. Oh, no! Kyle Leap, Peter Ranger going to bring out the caution. As the rest of the field skirts through. A big moment. It looked like Ranger tagged the wall, and unfortunately Kyle Leap with nowhere to go. Let's check things out once more. Ranger is going to push up the track, tag the wall. And Kyle Leap nowhere to go. A very violent hit. Take a look at that once more from Kyle Leap's point of view on board. The number 20 machine. There's Redger to the right side, drills the wall. Leap, no time to react. Looks for an opening that just wasn't found, and both drivers are going to have very heavy damage there. They lock up the brakes, and you can see the rest of the field starting to come by. Unfortunately, it looks like Redger takes a tow back to pit road. He's going to be done and out. Going to be interesting to see if Leap has a fast repair left, because he definitely took heavy damage to the number 20 machine. That's going to be our third caution. Bringing up the halfway mark. Leap missing the front wing on that 20 machine. Now this may be a saving grace for Jared Ziegler. Looks like Carrington, Terrell, Leap, King, and Brian Ziegler all down pit road, as well as Marshall Newton. Newton may still be able to gain at least 2 more spots here, as Gibson, Kopkar, Weatherholt, and Kasai opt to stay out. Now there's only 8 sets of tires available to these drivers here this evening. A bit of strategy call coming into effect. That will be our third caution for the night, past the halfway mark for the evening. And we're going to whittle down the drivers on the lead lap to just 7 remaining. As Kyle Leap in pit road for 2.5 minutes. Peter Renger in there for 4 minutes, 40 seconds so far. But Marshall Newton get back out on track could bode very well for his point standings. He's moved back up to 13. Gonna have 2 different groups on 2 different strategies. The top 4 looks like they all came in between lap 90 and 93, while 5th, 6th, 7th drivers, Carrington, Terrell, Ziegler, all came around lap 99 all together. So 99 laps and closing fast. Let's go green flag racing once more at the Nemesis Lab Indy 500. Gibson out front, Cop Car, Weatherholt, Kasai, Carrington all inside the top 5. The field rapidly dwindling to 7 drivers on the lead lap, and most of these guys know, especially for over racing, not going to really start racing hard for the last 20 to 15 laps before it all really matters. Now that being said, within 10 laps we had a 3-car battle for the lead, even going 3 wide across the start-finish line, the Brickyard here at Indy. As Gibson, Cop Car, and Weatherholt breaking away from John Kasai into 4th, the top 3 putting their nose down together and making it happen. We got 5 drivers that are certainly done and out for the evening. But that being said, we saw people such as Marshall Newton get back out on track after lengthy repairs, so anything can happen here. And I'm also interested to see how Jared Ziegler is going to do. He's up 8 spots after that early incident, has been driving very cautiously with the passes he make, but as we saw with Kyle Leap and Peter Renger, sometimes just bad luck is all it takes to put you back into the hauler, as now John Kasai has pressure from Casey Carrington. This will be the battle for 4th. As Gibson, Cop Car, Weatherholt still linked up nose to tail. Looks like Kasai able to put a little bit of a gap on himself and Carrington. Carrington has company from the likes of Nick Terrell and Jared Ziegler. They're running 6th and 7th behind the 5th place 03 machine of Carrington. Looks like Ziegler trying to put some pressure on Terrell, not quite able to make it happen. As Ziegler still sitting 7th place in the 57. Still up 8 spots from where he started though. Up front, Cop Car shadowing Paul Gibson. Weatherholt has backed up as slightly as these mirror image cars linked up nose to tail. Now Weatherholt has a great view of the battle going on in front of him. That's Gibson and Cockmark. And look at the closing gap there from Weatherholt. I wonder if he was doing a little bit of fuel saving because he rapidly charged back up towards the front. And Jared Ziegler has made the pass on Nick Terrell's 81 machine. Bill has Carrington about a half second ahead of him, running 5th. Jared Ziegler now up 9 spots. He's tied with hard charger John Kasai. Kasai also up 9 positions. Putting the pressure on Carrington's 03 machine. What a comeback story. Ziegler did have to use that fast repair early on. So if he can pull off a top 5, really just finishing after an early incident is a very impressive feat. Looks like Kyle Leaf returning back out on track after 6 minutes of repairs in the blue and pink number 20. Tightening up. Looks like Carrington has closed the gap on John Kasai as Ziegler and Terrell in hot pursuit. Now, the next 10 to 15 laps, we're going to see another flurry of pit cycle activity as here comes Carrington at the inside line of Kasai, diving into turn 1. Jared Ziegler looking like he may try to follow suit as well. Kasai has company for the big green meat machine of Jared Ziegler, who's now going to be our hard charger as Kasai has fallen back 1 spot as Carrington continues his charge forward. Carrington spent a large portion of the race battling for the lead here. Falling back, his scoreback is, I believe, 8th at one point, so good to see the green machine charging back up through the field. Less than 90 laps left to go here. And it looks like Ziegler's going to try and make it happen here against Kasai, peeking up the inside line. They go side by side. Ziegler does, in fact, take the position. Kasai tucks in right behind him, but Carrington has pulled about an 8-10 gap as we go back out up front. Look at this, Gibson and Kopkar. Gearbox to wing, very little difference between the two of each other. Gibson pulls about a quarter of a second gap over Kopkar. Kopkar backing out of the dirty air very wisely, I may add. Now let's see, will Kopkar close that distance once more? Is he going to play it safe? As it looks like Ziegler still trying to close the gap to Carrington's 03 machine. Ziegler up 10 positions so far tonight. Trying to catch up to Carrington's number 03 machine. Carrington still down 2 spots when it started, but again, it's been a comeback story for the driver of that 03. drivers on a lap 99 pit stop, their last time in. At most, we've seen about 35 laps out of a run for these drivers. As Carrington's still about 3.3 seconds back from Paul Weatherholt third. It's going to be interesting to see how the pit strategies pay out because Weatherholt, Cop Car, Gibson ranked 3, 2, 1 all came in around that lap 90 to 93 mark. It's separated by only a few tenths of a second. If we continue with the green flag runs, it's going to be interesting to see if they bring it home. This could all be all about strategy here. Hold on to the race lead as the top three bunched up again. Less than a half second separating our top three drivers, Gibson, Cop Car, Weatherholt. As they continue just clicking off laps here together. Still hitting speeds, almost 240 miles an hour is what Weatherholt's able to get. Having a whole lot of draft support. Wonder if Weatherholt's doing some fuel savings because he was the first driver down pit road inside these top three. He's going to have 2 laps less fuel than Gibson or Cop Car. Wonder if he's still on his race lapping. As we've got 7 drivers on the lead lap. Now it looks like 11 still out on track, rocking and rolling. Marshall Newton, the absolute people's champion, the 76 machine, just clicking off laps. He's got to run 4 more laps if he might be able to move up to 11th. As Peter Renger and Matt Brewer have retired in front of him. Brewer came in a lap 64 in park. Renger came in a lap 98 before he retired. So Newton still might see 11 in his horizon. Possibly a top 10 if somebody else maybe throws it away here that's still out on track. Lap time starting to dwindle. Gibson with a 41.3. Everybody inside the top 3 though, able to maintain 41.3s, using that draft off of each other. Carrington, who's leading the charge in that second pack and forth, looked off of 41.5 last time by. That's a largely attributed to that draft with your buddies to help pull yourself up towards the front, working together. As Gibson, Cop Car, and Weatherholt currently doing and displaying an excellent prowess. Weatherholt closing the gap once more in third, down to 4/10. Gibson holding about a quarter of a second advantage over Cop Car. Now Weatherholt currently holding about 3.5 second advantage over Carrington. Seems like it's been climbing slightly. Gibson and Cop Car still linked up nose to tail. Less than a tenth separating them. It looks like Weatherholt seems content falling back slightly, using that draft to pull himself up towards the front. And there's going to be a little bit of lap traffic there for Paul Gibson. I wonder if that's going to be Norman King in the 28 machine. Let's take a look. No, it's not King. Maybe Marshall Newton. No, yes, that's going to be Marshall Newton who's going to go another lap down. as a freight train of top 3 drivers approach him. Now Newton, if he's lucky, will hop out of the way for these top 3 and quickly get right back in the draft. Newton goes high in turn 1, allowing Gibson up the inside line, as well as Cop Car and Weatherholt. Looks like Weatherholt got stuck, just not enough track position there. Weatherholt losing a whole lot of time. Hopefully not going to lose the draft. Now let's see if Newton tucks in behind here using the draft of Weatherholt. May be able to do a bit of fuel saving. No, but I think Newton definitely driving a little bit injured here. He's about 1.5 seconds off the pace. But Weatherholt has lost the gap with Cop Car. Gibson and Cop Car have pulled a 1.3 second advantage over the 3rd place driver. Going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Is Weatherholt maybe going to back out of it slightly and allow Carrington, Ziegler, and to catch up to him? As it looked like Marshall Newton was trying to hop out of the way behind, but Carrington's going to use him for the draft. Jared Ziegler staying behind both of them. As Gibson, Cop Car, Weatherholt come down pit road together, Carrington and Ziegler stay out. Carrington will get credit for another lap led. Ziegler now showing up 13 positions. I think that midway caution could have saved the night for the 57 of Jared Ziegler. Let's see, Carrington, Ziegler, and Terrell, your current top 3, should be able to stretch it out 5 or 6 laps longer than we saw Gibson, Cop Car, and Weatherholt able to manage. But now we've got those 3 drivers on the same pit strategy as well, and possibly bunched back up together. It's only a 2-car charge now up front. In theory, those 3 drivers, Gibson, Cop Car, Weatherholt, if they work together, should be able to close that gap using the draft. Very intrigued to see how this is going to pan out when Carrington and Ziegler come down pit road. Where will they be back out on track compared to those 3 dominant drivers we've seen up front for a majority of the race? But Carrington, no stranger being up front. He qualified 2nd here this evening, and we saw him battling 3 wide early on for the race. He definitely has the pace, has the ability. And I believe he also has the fast repair still in his back pocket. We've got 74 laps left to go. As we continue clicking them off, Carrington and Ziegler holding apart by about 0.4 of a second. As it looks like John Kasai, the number 3 machine, he's going to come down pit road all on his lonesome with no draft support when he rolls back out. That's going to be an interesting call for him. Now, he is up 6 spots. And it looks like he will be the last driver still on the lead lap as he rolls back out. The Propane Depot sponsored number 3 machine. Propane Depot, again, one of the title sponsors so far this series. Carrington keep clicking off laps. Now, they have not come down pit road since lap 99 together, as well as Nick Terrell, who's in third. He's about 6.3 seconds back from these top two drivers, also in no man's land. And such a tough spot to be in for Nick Terrell. Without that draft support, you really can't make too much happen. Terrell showing about 4/10 slower than the top two drivers without that help. How long will it be before we see Carrington and Ziegler down pit road together? The fuel window is officially open for these top two. I'd imagine they're going to stretch this out as long as they possibly can. Norman King, Brian Ziegler down pit road together. Jared Ziegler, Carrington continue to charge up front, but it looks like Carrington backing out of it. Carrington's going to come down pit road all by himself, leaving Jared Ziegler charging up front. Ziegler trying to stretch that fuel run as long as he possibly can. What is going to be the strategy of that 57 machine? He's up 14 spots, but he's going to be one of the few drivers accompanied by Nick Terrell need to come down pit road in the next lap or 2 laps to get back out there. Now, I believe this is going to put Ziegler about 6 to 8 seconds behind Gibson, Kopcar, and Weatherholt. All came down pit road on lap 123 together. It shows 6 drivers on the lead lap. John Kasai will go a lap down in the number 3 machine. Carrington's going to rejoin the surface in 6th place. I think just ahead of Jared Ziegler here. Ziegler stretching it out another lap as well. How much longer can Jared Ziegler possibly stretch the run for here? 7 laps left to go. And here we go. Jared Ziegler's going to come down pit road. Will Nick Terrell follow suit? Yes, he will. So that's going to put, I believe, Paul Gibson back as your race leader as Jared Ziegler, Nick Terrell coming down pit road to get service. I find it very interesting that Weatherholt is still holding back by about a half second from these top 2 drivers. As Gibson, Kopcar, Weatherholt take over the race lead. Strategy. Jared Ziegler will return back out on track 4th after a lap 133 stop. Looks like Carrington's going to move back inside the top 5. Looks like Weatherholt's still kind of yo-yoing back and forth. These top 3 we have about a 6.8 second advantage over Jared Ziegler, our hard charger. Despite the early race calamity, Ziegler, he's in a tough spot here. He really needs to find some allies or find a way to catch back up to the top 3 if he wants a shot at podium contention. Now, also very interested as well about the strategy we're going to see tonight. Ziegler could be on a very good top strategy here. He should, if we don't have any cautions. I'm thinking if I'm looking at this right, being able to bring home results with just one more stop. I think your top 3 are going to be on a 2-stop strategy here. Gibson, Kopcar, Weatherholt need to just click off extremely fast laps here in the top 3, work together to give themselves the biggest advantage possible. Because I think guys such as Jared Ziegler, possibly Casey Carrington, Nick Terrell, may be on the optimal strategy. Now early on it looked like that was going to be a very rough and poor strategy, and the big if is if we go green here. Kyle Lee coming back down pit road as it looks like Ziegler and Carrington working together. Marshall Newton has crawled back up the 12th place spot. Carrington making a pass on Ziegler. Carrington came in on lap 131, Ziegler on lap 133. Up, work together. Colin Weatherholt still about 3/4 of a second back from second place. Kopcar. As hopefully Carrington and Ziegler know to work together if they want a chance here. They're about 8 seconds off the top 3. Going to be an interesting race as the laps click off. It's very much looking like it's going to be won or lost on strategy. Expecting the pit window to open up for Gibson, Kopcar, and Weatherholt around lap 158 at the latest. That will put them about 7 laps short on fuel if I'm doing my math right up here in the booth. And I believe if Ziegler stays true to his strategy, seen about 33 to 35 laps per run, he should be in this race with an excess of fuel by 2 to 3 laps. We're going to be extremely interested to see how this one pans out. As your race leader's cutting through traffic. Oh my goodness, Paul Gibson has to back out of it. Was that Newton? Yes, it was. Just nowhere to go there. Gibson, Kopcar, Weatherholt get through nice and easy. That's going to cost him about a half of a second. Weatherholt falls off the back of Kopcar by about 9/10. He does not want to lose that draft again. But you know who would love that, to see the top drivers get a little bit separated, would be Carrington and Ziegler still linked up, running 4th and 5th. Now these top 3 drivers definitely have something figured out here as they're able to keep working together and keep climbing forward and stretching that gap to Carrington and Ziegler. But again, in the next 15 some odd laps, 15, 16 laps, we're expecting to see these top three come down pit road. And then we will see yet another pass for the lead as I believe Carrington, Ziegler, and possibly Nick Terrell will take over 1, 2, 3. Now I'm wondering as well, will Jared Ziegler and Nick Terrell come down pit road just a couple laps early so they have another ally in the likes of Casey Carrington? Or is it going to be every man for himself here? There's Gibson and Cop Car linked up. Weatherholt still about 6/10 off the back of Cop Car. Now earlier I thought he may have been doing a little bit of fuel saving, but as they all came down pit road together on lap 123, I'm not entirely sure what Weatherholt's strategy is here, lagging back just slightly. And Carrington and Ziegler, who are working together, are slowly closing the gap to Weatherholt. I wonder if the top three doing some fuel saving here. It doesn't look like it judging by lap times. Maybe Carrington's getting a little bit of help from lap traffic as well. Or that possibly could be the difference with just 8-lap fresher tires underneath the 03 machine. Jared Ziegler still sitting in 5th, up 10 spots. Now I think Carrington, Ziegler, and Terrell know they don't have to do much fuel saving here. They can run it pretty much as fast as they possibly can. Carrington using a little bit of traffic to his advantage, picking up a little bit more pace. Let's see, will Ziegler be able to follow suit into turn 1 as Carrington putting his head down, charging forward, trying to catch that number 12 machine of Colin Weatherholt. But Carrington may have stretched the gap too much here. He's 9/10 ahead of Ziegler. Ziegler cutting through traffic as well. Does not want to lose the back draft of Carrington, and Carrington might need that draft of Ziegler if he wants to catch up to Colin Weatherholt. They have closed the gap now to 7.6 seconds. Do that number 12 machine sitting in 3rd. But now Jared Ziegler just about a second back from Carrington, holding on for dear life. Ziegler hold on by about 8/10 behind Jared Ziegler. Excuse me, Ziegler about 8/10 behind Carrington. But Colin Weatherholt in 3rd, extending that gap back to 7.8 seconds. As up front, Gibson, Cop Car, Weatherholt have shrunk the formation back down to less than a half second between these top 3 drivers. 50 laps left to go in the Nemesis Labs 500. Again, backing out of it ever so slightly. Carrington has closed the gap to about 7.2 seconds, but Carrington has shaken off Jared Ziegler as well. Ziegler's fallen back about 1.8 away from Carrington. And we know Carrington's going to be 2 laps shorter on fuel than Ziegler and Terrell as well, who still fight to stay on the lead lap. There are 7 drivers on the lead lap. As Gibson holds a 3/10 advantage over Top Car and about 9/10 over Weatherholt. And look at that, the top 3 going to come down pit road together. Gibson, Cop Car, Weatherholt all down pit road. That's going to put Carrington back as your race leader. He came in last on lap 131. We're expecting his next pit stop to be around that lap 166 mark. Carrington holding about a 2.7 second gap over Ziegler. Ziegler 7 seconds ahead of Nick Terrell. Now we're expecting our top 3 drivers to come down pit road between lap 166 and 169. And that should put them in a position where they can roll all the way till the end here. As Gibson, Cop Car, and Weatherholt rolling out back out on track. Carrington's going to hold on to the race lead, extending his advantage over Jared Ziegler. Now, John Kasai, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it on just one more stop. I'm showing him about 4 laps short on fuel. Nick Terrell may be able to make it on one stop here. Now, if we can see Jared Ziegler finish on the podium after using that fast repair very early on, with 99% of the race left to go here, that would be such an incredible story for the 57 machine. And Carrington's not had an easy night as well. Falling way back to the middle of the pack, climbing his way back up towards the front. But Carrington will be burning a little bit more fuel in that 030 machine. You can see Jared Ziegler in the background. Carrington extending the gap over Jared Ziegler, now almost 7 seconds. Wonder if Ziegler is battling traffic or maybe trying to hit fuel-saving numbers here in that 57. Banking heavily. Oh my goodness. That was Kyle Leap in the number 20 machine, just ahead of Jared Ziegler in second. Not sure, maybe Ziegler was trying to tuck in behind the number 20 machine and save fuel, or... Yeah, I'm not sure what that just was. As John Kasai takes over the 3rd place spot and then falls down pit road. Nick Terrell holding on to 3rd. Kasai came to lap 126, so hitting the end of his fuel run. Carrington still your race leader, a 9.6 advantage over Jared Ziegler. Meanwhile, that three-car pack of Gibson, Cop Car, Weatherholt still working together. Carrington rocking and rolling out here in no man's land. We've got 6 drivers still on the lead lap. And he continues his charge, pulling a 10th here, a 10th there over Jared Ziegler in second. Nick Terrell still holding on to third. I believe Carrington also able to go the distance on fuel with his current pit strategy. That'll put him with a 1 lap buffer window if he stays true to a lap 35 fuel run. We're expecting the next 5 to 6 laps. Carrington coming down pit road for his final planned stop of the evening. Marshall Newton, the comeback kid, the number 76, picks up another spot, passing Peter Renger, who retired on lap 98. Newton just out there clicking off laps, maximizing the points. Norman King coming down pit road. I believe that's going to put King about 5 laps short unless he can try something wild on pit strategy. Maybe about 2 laps short since I believe King is down a lap, if not 2 laps as it stands. Carrington looking closer to extending that gap. Oh no, Carrington's going to come down pit road a few laps early. Only 30 laps on that fuel run for him. Oh no, Carrington may be short on fuel till the end here. We need to see when Jared Ziegler's going to come down pit road if he wants to try and make something happen on strategy. Ziegler takes back over the race lead. Now we're expecting Ziegler to come down pit road on lap 168. He's tucked in behind John Kasai, who sits in 7th, maybe trying to save a little bit of fuel. Carrington returns back out on track. He'll be 6th in the circuit. Let's see, Ziegler 7.5 seconds up over Nick Terrell. But Ziegler and Terrell last in on lap 133. If they can make it to lap 168 for their final fuel stop, they're going to have 2 to 3 laps extra fuel to go till the end. Interested to see how this is going to work out on strategy because Gibson, Cop Car, and Weatherholt have been very slowly closing the gap as now they run 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But the big question is, what's it going to happen on strategy? Ziegler has clicked off his fastest lap of the race, a 40.96, 164 laps into this main event, using the draft of John Kasai to his advantage. This is going to be twofold. It's going to help out Ziegler's top pace all the way around, excuse me. It's going to allow him to save a little bit of fuel as well. And I think fuel may be one of the most important things here, arguably more so than raw pace. At this point, we feel it's fairly safe. Ziegler could come down pit road and finish it out towards the end. As I think he might be coming down pit road. He's backed off the pace heavily behind John Kasai. Does the number 57 machine signal? He's coming down pit road. No, he's going to stretch it out, but may have swapped fuel maps here to try and make it just one more stop needed to make it till the end. If he can pull off that strategy, I think Ziegler has a very good chance of bringing home the win here. Nick Terrell comes down pit road, and no, Jared Ziegler gets loose in the lead, thrown into the outside wall. The caution doesn't come out, but oh, it's going to, as Ziegler has thrown it away on the track. He's off the surface. No caution as of yet. He pulls off, and no, Jared Ziegler. All the hard work will be undone for the 57 machine. 166 laps in, the work is for naught. Oh, absolutely gut-wrenching for the 57 machine of Jared Ziegler, as Gibson, Cop Car, and Weatherholt take back over the top three. Ziegler's going to try and limit a pit road, but with how light that car was on fuel and how damaged it is, he is fighting it very, very hard as he takes an access road to get off the track. Oh my goodness, that was absolute tragedy here. Ziegler just got loose, maybe with how light the car was, low on fuel, and maybe didn't have the aero as well, since he seemed to have backed off the pace, and unfortunately what looked like he might have saved it. Just absolutely gut-wrenching luck for Jared Ziegler. Ziegler able to make it down pit road. Kasai will take over the top five. Now let's see what the fuel strategy is going to be for Gibson, Cop Car, and Weatherholt. As it's going to show these guys about 13 to 15 laps short of fuel. 32 laps remaining. Now these three have worked well together over the opening, just about 3/4 of this main event. But when the laps start to dwindle, are we going to see something different come into play here? Expecting these top three to come in around lap 185 to 187 if they stay true to strategy. Jared Ziegler still in pit road getting those repairs done. Kyle leading down pit road in the number 20 machine for what should be his final stop of the evening as well. So as it stands, the one single driver who may be able to make something happen on fuel strategy here is going to be Nick Terrell. He came in on lap 165. The biggest run we've seen is about 35 laps from these drivers. That's going to put him right at the ragged edge. So Terrell has to be in fuel-saving mode, or at least at the forefront of his mind from now moving forward. He's about 34 seconds back from Paul Gibson and friends. top three have a little bit of traffic to contend with. Jared Ziegler, unfortunately, still falling down the standings. It's Brian Ziegler, Jared Sr. here, aka Papa Ziegler, as we like to call him, the number 5 machine. He'll take over the 8th place spot. Gibson, top car, Weatherholt still linked up nose to tail. Waiting to see if Nick Terrell may have a comeback story here. He may even go a lap down. But I think Terrell may still have a shot, a chance, a hope. It doesn't look like Terrell has done a whole lot of fuel saving this run, still clicking off 41.4 second lap times. Your top two, Gibson and Cop Car, 41.5s. .25 laps left to go here at the Nemesis Lab Indy 500. Gibson, Cop Car, Weatherholt, still your top three, but we're expecting them to be a little bit short on fuel to make it till the end. Let's see how this is going to go. The top three separated by about a second. Everybody inside the top three came in last on lap 152. Casey Carrington in fourth came in on lap 161. Kasai on lap 156. Keep an eye out on Nick Terrell's number 81 machine, fighting to stay on the lead lap. He came in last on lap 165. Terrell is the only driver out on track that has a chance to making it till the end without having to come down pit road. But his lap times do not show too much fuel saving here. As it looks like Gibson has extended the gap out front, a second ahead of Cop Car. No, excuse me, 4/10. Cop Car pulled about a second on Weatherholt third. As Jared Ziegler rolling out of pit road for the final time. Unfortunately, he'll be showing 10th out on track. As Gibson and Cop Car have a bit of a breakaway. When will we see these drivers come down pit road for the final time? Will Carrington and Terrell be able to pull something miraculous off on fuel strategy? The laps clicking off here at Indy. We've whittled it down to 6 drivers on the lead lap, and I'd say at any point, any 6 have a chance of bringing home the win. Gibson and Cop Car have been working together all night long. Evening long, afternoon long. Normally we run Tuesday nights, and it's a little bit odd being up on a Saturday morning to call the action. Casey Carrington getting some love from the fans on the YouTube chat. As it looks like Gibson and Cop Car pulling an even bigger advantage over Weatherholt. All three drivers came in a lap 152 together. It's probably too late in the night to worry about strategy at this point. You've just got to deal with the hands you have. Nick Terrell in 6th, the dark horse who may be able to make something happen on strategy. About 0.2 per lap slower than your top 2, top 3 drivers. Colin Weatherholt will be the first driver inside the top 3 to come down pit road. 20 laps left to go. Gibson and Concar sitting nose to tail out front, separated by as low as 0.2 of a second. Casey Carrington takes over the 3rd place spot. What is the strategy plays gonna look like? Gibson, cop car down pit road for the final time of the evening. It's gonna be 19 to go as they cross the line. Carrington should be showing as your race leader, but we know he's gonna be short on fuel. Not thinking it's gonna be enough. Maybe he'll be able to save 4 laps of fuel over the run, but that is a big ask for the 03 machine. Carrington takes on the race lead. Again, he's showing about 4 laps short on fuel. Copcar and Gibson getting their final service of the evening. John Kasai will move up to 2nd after his lap 156 pit stop. As Nick Terrell showing in 4th, squeeze between Copcar and Gibson. Here comes Colin Weatherholt in the fray as well. Now this is not what Terrell was looking for. He wanted to be resoundingly out in front, as now Copcar, Gibson, Weatherholt can comfortably go till the end on strategy on fuel. Terrell might not be able to bring home the win here on strategy. Now it might be survival to see if he can stay in the top 3. Carrington's still out front. Copcar has pulled about a 1-second advantage over Nick Terrell. We're fairly confident Carrington and Kasai will have to come down pit road. As Carrington, your race leader, he is about 23 seconds ahead of Copcar with 16 laps left to go. Can Carrington somehow pull off a fuel strategy play here? Carrington 14.4 seconds ahead of John Kasai. Kasai came in last on lap 156. We know for certain that the number 3 propane depot back machine will need to splash off on fuel to make it till the end. The question is for the likes of Carrington, for the likes of Terrell, can they somehow make something happen? Because behind Terrell is Gibson and Weatherholt, who are going to want so desperately to bring home a podium position here. "15 laps left to go. John Kasai comes down pit road, his final stop of the evening, planned stop of the evening. Race of attrition. 6 drivers left on the lead lap. With 11 still out there rocking and rolling. A little bit better attrition rates than I was expecting after how many drivers sitting back in the virtual hauler early on. 5 drivers having to retire early. That was Rettinger, Brewer, Miller, Brennan, Dugan, and McAllister. Back in the virtual hauler very early on. Guys, look at this freight train. Terrell, Gibson, Weatherholt linked out nose to tail. Cop Car has checked out in second place, 1.5 seconds ahead. Carrington has about a 22-second advantage over Cop Car. But we're very worried that Carrington's going to be 4 laps short on this fuel run. Checking back in with Carrington, out in no man's land, just clicking off laps. As it looks like the battle for third still getting heated. Gibson taking a peek at the inside line of Nick Terrell's A1 machine. Not able to make it happen. Terrell fighting on here. With about 16 laps older tires and a lot less fuel in the tank of that 81. Terrell's going to be in survival mode to make it till the end here on just fuel. As Gibson and Weatherholt tucked in right behind him. Norman King coming down pit road for his final stop of the night. He's still sitting 7th place out on track. King back out on track, in and out of his pit stall in less than 9 seconds. Top Car in second, still 1.7 seconds ahead of Nick Terrell. Terrell has no more time for a fuel saving if he wants to fight and hold on to what could be the final podium position. And the big unknown is, can Carrington and Terrell still make it to the end on fuel here? Terrell pushing a whole lot of air off the bow of that 81 machine. $11 laps left to go. Looks like Terrell may have a little bit of draft support. I think that's Cop Car, so he's going to be slightly out of difference. 1 3/4 of a second ahead of Nick Terrell. 10 laps left to go as Carrington's crossed the line. Carrington holding a 21-second advantage over Cop Car. He clicked off a 41.37 his last time by. Cop Car a 41.14, who's currently out on screen. So it doesn't look like Carrington doing too much fuel saving here and making it till the end. Can he somehow find 4 laps extra fuel? Or is he going to have to come down pit road with 4 to go and throw away the lead, as it looks like Paul Gibson's taking over the 3rd place spot from Nick Terrell? No, Carrington's going to come down pit road with 10 laps left to go. That's going to put Cop Car as your race leader. Terrell has passed Gibson back. We've got a heated battle for 3rd. And what could be the battle for 2nd. 9 laps left to go. Will Terrell be able to make it on fuel? He's out in front of this 3-car pack. Carrington makes it to his pit stall as Gibson and Terrell go side by side for what is now 2nd. Weatherholt going to the inside line as well to try and get around Nick Terrell. That's going to put Cop Car as your race leader with 9 laps left to go. We know Cop Car, Gibson, and Weatherholt are good to go in the end. Terrell fighting for dear life, but maybe he's in a better spot here. Might be able to pick up the draft from Gibson and just focus on keeping Weatherholt behind him. What a race it has been. Drivers have been out on track for 2 hours and 26 minutes as it stands. As it looks like Gibson pulling a half-second advantage over that 81 of Terrell. Terrell's going to be right at the limit as far as fuel as we continue clicking off laps. Colin Weatherholt looking for an opening, looking to the inside line of Terrell going into turn 1. Side by side they go. Terrell able to hold on to it for a little while longer. Ryan Ziegler, the number 5 machine, comes down pit road with 7 to go. His final stop of the night. Terrell's got to be careful here. We saw Jared Ziegler get very light and late in his run, very loose, and throw it away as it looks like Weatherholt going to take another peek to the inside line. This time, I think he's going to make it happen. Terrell running up high, trying to carry a little bit more speed as they continue going side by side for the final podium position. Terrell holds on to it for a little while longer. Terrell doing everything he can to fight for that final podium position. 6 laps left to go. And Weatherholt continues looking for any sort of opening up the inside lines. They continue going side by side. Will Weatherholt finally make it stick? It looks like he will. As at this point, Terrell is going to be fighting the fuel, the tires, as well as the traffic. And unfortunately, Terrell is signaling he's coming down pit road with 5 laps left to go. That's going to put Cop Car as your race leader in an extremely dominant fashion. 2.8 seconds up over Gibson. 4.2 ahead of Weatherholt. Carrington moves back up into 4th. Well, let's see if Terrell can hold on to a top 5 here. As Cop Car out here in no man's land at this point, it's every man for himself. And what's this? A crash with Kyle Leap, thankfully not bringing out the caution. But the number 20 machine, who's been having a rough go of tonight, it's unfortunately going to get a little bit worse for him. Well, let's see how it unfolds. Just gets a little bit loose, and boom, into the inside wall goes Kyle Leap. Thankfully, no late race caution as we're 4 laps left to go. Cop Car still 3 seconds ahead of Gibson. Gibson might have company from Colin Weatherholt, who has closed the gap to 8 tenths now as it stands. And let's see how it's going to pan out. 3 laps left to go. It's Cop Car, Gibson, Weatherholt. Weatherholt trying everything he can to close the gap to about 8 tenths or less. It's going to be tough as everybody inside the top 3 roughly on the same fuel and tire strategy at this point. But here comes Weatherholt, closing the gap now to 6 tenths. 2 laps left to go. Cop Car comfortably out front, 3 seconds ahead. If we're going to see any late race movement here, it's going to be between Gibson and Weatherholt, the 2 closest drivers out on track. We only have 6 remaining out on the lead lap. 11 still out there racing, possibly 10. Not sure if Lee's going to be able to return in that number 20 machine. As here we go, the white flag is out for Cop Car. But things are still dicing up in the battle for second. Here goes Gibson, here goes Weatherholt. Gibson on the inside line, Weatherholt trying to take the long way around. Gibson wants to hold on to that second place position. Weatherholt trying to chase the draft however he can. Gibson being a little bit defensive. Here comes Weatherholt throwing it in deep up the inside line. Side by side they go in the battle for second. Joey Gibson ahead by a thousandth of a second. Who's going to be coming down the line? Cop Car brings home the win. And it's going to be Paul Gibson showing in second place. Paul and Weatherholt will round out the top three. So we're going to get confirmation on those results here. But as it stands, the unofficial results, Cop Car, Gibson, Weatherholt, your top three after a grueling Indy 500 sponsored by Nemesis Labs. As Cop Car comes back to pit road, he's had enough. And yes, we get confirmation that Paul Gibson has secured second place by 1/100th of a second. We're going to try and get these top three drivers up here into victory lane. And let's try and get these top three drivers up here together. But we're just waiting on Colin Weatherholt to join us here in the broadcast booth, and then we can get podium speeches underway. We got a report that Colin Weatherholt may be done. He has a 3-hour drive to go have a little bit of fun after this. We're going to pan and move things up the program up to Paul Gibson, the number 31 machine. Paul, welcome back. What a wild Indy 500, 200 laps, and I don't think anybody knew what was going to happen over the duration of that event.
Yeah, that was something. Yeah, after that last yellow, we just thought about fuel real quick, and we're like, we just got to be out front, so just full rich and go. I think some of the other cars that pitted on that last yellow were trying maybe to do 2 stops from there on out, so they'd have to save a lot to get there. So yeah, that ended up working out for us.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be close. A couple of dark horses in that were looking like they could very well make it just kind of a one-stop race after that, or as you said, a 2-stop, I guess. And it looked like it was going to be within a couple laps. Were you worried that was going to happen, or were you guys doing the fuel math thinking, all right, this is going to look pretty good from our point of view?
Well, we just kind of took a guess at it. Just like, hey, if we run full rich here on out, we'll make it just fine. And then I think you had to run something like 36 laps a stint, or 35 laps a stint to make it in 2 stops after that last yellow. And I think we all just kind of decided it was probably easier to just go full rich, and maybe it'll sort itself out.
Yeah, it looked like it did and worked out well for you there. Some great racing at the end as well between you and Weatherholt. I show it as less than 1/100th of a second, giving you the second place. Were you having to do a little bit of review there at the end to see if you actually did secure that spot?
Yeah, I looked at it real quick, and it was close. So yeah, that was good. That was a good race between the three of us right there up front. That was a lot of fun.
Awesome. A lot of fun watching it. A great point nights for you in the 31 machine. And before I let you go celebrate and maybe take a nap after this one, who do you want to give a shout out to, Paul?
Nikhil. He won the oval. So congrats to him. I think that might be his first oval win, so big thing for him. That's awesome. And then the rest of PG-13 team for showing up today and having a good time.
Awesome. A good time definitely had by all. Paul, congratulations on second, and looking forward to having you back up here, as always, with that great finishing 31 machine.
Thank you.
That was Paul Gibson bringing it home in second. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, somebody who I've been mispronouncing your first name ever since I've started calling it. So is it Nick Hill? Is that how I say that properly?
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. So
Okay.
you're good.
All right, is Cop Car still the right second name?
Yes.
All right, well,
Cool.
we're all right. We're batting 50 here, Nick Hill. So good to have you back up here. We think we just heard from Paul Gibson. This might be one of your first oval wins, and doing it in dominant style in a very long format race, 3.4 seconds ahead of Gibson, and a clean car. And we saw so much of the field have problems here tonight.
Yeah, it was. I think it really helped having all the PG-13 guys here because we could run as a pack for a long time, and that really helped us, set a nice rhythm and pace. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Well, good to see things go so well for you here. At what point did you start looking back and realizing I have a very good chance of winning this tonight?
Yeah, I think I was following Paul for most of the stint, like the second half of the race, and he would always get me coming out of the pit somehow. And I got him coming out of the pits once on the last stop, and then I saw that there was someone. I think there was Nick between me and Paul, and I knew Nick had old tires, so that's when I was like, got to move now. So yeah, I was once I saw that Paul's Paul and Colin were hung up behind Nick, then yeah, I thought that was pretty good. That's when go ahead.
I was saying, Nick Hill, something we can't really explain to the fans, especially when we're not out there with you guys, is how much does the car's characteristic change over the course of a run, and how much more complicated does it get when you're fighting with dirty air as well out there?
Oh, a lot. So in these cars you can change control arms and the weight jacker. So I was all the way at one end of the adjustment when I was following Paul, and pretty much all the way to the other end when I was just running by myself. So there's a lot of adjustment that needs to happen just to make sure you're turning good laps and not finding a wall.
Well, you definitely were able to pull it off. A clean race car, a dominant win, and a massive points nights for you in that number 4 machine. After a long, grueling race, I know everybody's ready for to head home for the evening after a great race at Indy. But Nick Hill, you have the pleasure, the privilege of the final send-offs of the night, my friend. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped you win such a prestigious event here tonight?
Yep, I think all of the PG-13 crew. We had another guy helping out as well from PG-13, Justin. And I'm not the greatest with strategy when it comes to ovals, so I definitely had help from my teammates over there. So big shout out to the entire PG-13 crew. And
Go ahead.
thanks for the broadcast as always.
Thank you, my friend. A grueling event for all parties involved, but able to put it on the top spot. Congratulations again, well earned, and hope to have you back up here in the coming weeks.
Yep, I hope I see you guys again. I'll see you again, James, here in the booth.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the pleasure on my end, and congratulations again, man.
Yep, thank you. Have a good day.
And that was Nick Hill, Cop Car, bringing it home in the top spot. Paul Gibson bringing it home second, Colin Weatherholt third, and a big shout out to Carrington and Kasai bringing home the top 5 as well. Thank you to also everybody that tuned in tonight, supporting the broadcast, supporting the league, as well as supporting the Racing for Children's charity. Again, the link here on the Team Goon Squad live chat. Drop a donation, support a great cause, a great series, and just a fantastic reason to be getting everybody together. Normally on Tuesday nights, tonight a special event for the Nemesis Labs 500 and getting a little bit off schedule. But again, thank you all so much for supporting us. Again, congratulations to the top 3. My name has been James East on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, and I look forward to having you back in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.